Okay, so, my computer's disconnected. What we're learning today is we're factoring, but this time there's a number in front of my x squared. So, we have to figure out how to solve them. So there's two situations. The first one is where I can divide everything by what we have in common. It's taking forever to connect. There you go. So if I take a look at number one, what can I divide out of all three of these numbers? What goes into 5, 15, and 10? 5. So I'm going to divide all three of them by 5. Okay, and then because I'm dividing by 5, I'm going to write this on the outside of the parentheses. And then on the inside is what I get after I divide. So 1x squared, so just regular x squared. 15 divided by 5 is 3, so 3x. And then 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so now the stuff inside the pink looks like what we were doing earlier this week, with where I look at the end number and see what multiplies to it and adds to the middle. So, stupid. What multiplies, so the 5 stays where it is, first of all. What multiplies to 2 and adds to 3? 2 and 1. So I'm going to do x plus 2 in one set and x plus 1 in the other. Could have I written this in a different order? I could have. I could have switched the x plus 2 and the x plus 1. Those two can go in different orders. I can't switch signs, but I can switch orders. So questions on number 1. Yeah, the 5 just stays on the outside. Because factoring is the opposite of distributing. So we're kind of trying to undistribute here. I'm sorry. This is the number I divided by. It just happened to be the number out front. Okay, can I move on to number 2? Okay, so what I want to do here on number 2 is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, remember this is in the form A, B, C. I'm going to take A and C, so I multiply AC together. So what's A times C? 12. Okay? So I want to see what multiplies to 12 and adds to my B value, which is 13. So what multiplies to 12 and adds to 13? 12 and 1. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is called factor by grouping. I'm going to replace this 13 right here. I'm going to replace it with 12 plus 1. So I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to have 4x squared, but in the middle, instead of having 13, I'm going to have 12x plus 1x, and then it ends the same with my plus 3 at the end. Does that make sense why I did that? So I know 12 plus 1 equals 13, right? Like we all agree on that fact? So I had 13 up here. I want to rewrite this so I can split it up into 2 pieces and then solve it that way. Okay. So the next step is to write in parentheses to split it up into 2 groups, because this is called factoring by grouping, so I need groups. So, what number divides both my first two? What goes into 4 and 12? Larger than 2. 4. And they also both have x's, right? So I'm going to divide this one by 4x. I'm going to write the 4x out front. And then I'm going to write what I get left over inside parentheses. So 4x squared divided by 4x is x. The 4's cancel out, and x squared divided by x, it has a secret exponent of 1. So I subtract my exponents. 12x divided by 4x, 3. And then the x's cancel out. I want to do the same thing for the second set. What goes into both 1 and 3? So, yeah. Something has to go into them. The smallest thing that goes in, or largest thing that goes into them is 1. So I'm going to write plus 1, and then I'm going to divide everything by 1. So 1x divided by 1 is, or just x. 3 divided by 1 is 3. Okay. So notice, both sets of green parentheses that I wrote are exactly the same. I don't agree? What I'm going to do is I'm going to write one final piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the first part of the purple that I got, so the number I divided on the first one, and then the number I divided by on the second. Why is my pen dying? The number I got on the second set. It's just the paper. Anyways, that's a 1. So those go in the first set of parentheses. In the second set is the x plus 3. It just gets written once. So this is my final answer. Questions here on number 2. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to number 3. Does anyone still need 2 up? So I'm going to do the same thing for number 3. How do I start off? Yeah, so I'm going to start off by multiplying a and c, which is, what are my a and c? So I just multiply the numbers, so I'm going to do 3 times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. And I want it to add to what number? -7. Because that's my b term. Okay? So I'm looking for things that are going to multiply to 6 and add to 7, or -7. Off the screen. Okay, so what multiplies to 6? That could add to -7. -6 and -1. So -6 plus -1 equals -7. Okay. Then what's the next step? Rewrite the original equation I was given. So I'm going to replace this -7 with -6 and -1. Okay. Then I'm going to split it up into two groups. So I just draw two sets of parentheses. What goes into my first group? With the 3... Do they both have variables? Alright, so I can divide them both by 3x. What is 3x squared divided by 3x? Huh? X. And negative 6x divided by 3x? Negative 2. On the second set, what would you want to take out? Remember, my final answer, I want to make it so the screen number is the same for both of them. Right now, are they going to be the same? No. So if I took out a regular one, it wouldn't make them the same. What would I need to take out to change it to be the same? Because what's the difference between this piece and this piece? Negative and positive, so I want to divide by a negative 1. Okay, so I divide by negative 1. Negative x divided by negative 1 is... And then positive 2 divided by negative 1? Negative 2. Okay. And then one final step, what do I have to do? I don't want to leave it like this. I take the outside pieces and put those together in a set of parentheses. And then the green piece just goes once at the end. Because this is using the distributive property in reverse. Questions on number 3? Can I move on to number 4? Or does anyone still need number 3 up? Okay, so first step here, multiply A and C. So what is 2 times negative 7? Negative 14. And I want it to add to... What's my B value? Negative 5. So what multiplies to negative 14 and adds to negative 5? 2 and negative 7? So 2 minus 7, does that give me the negative 5 I want? Yes. Okay. So now that I've found my magic numbers, what do I want to do? Plug them in, so I'm going to have 2x squared, and then in the middle, I'm going to have 2x, oh, I forgot my sign, I can do that, minus 7x, and then minus 7 at the end. Okay, then I split it into 2 groups. What goes into my first group? larger than 1. 2. And can I pull out a variable here? Yeah, x. So I write 2x on the outside. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. 2x divided by 2x is... They cancel out, so whenever they cancel out, it leaves us with just 1. Alright. Over here on this set, what goes into negative 7x and negative 7? Negative 7. No, I can't pull out the x on this one because the second 7 doesn't have an x. So then, negative 7x divided by negative 7 is x. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is... They cancel out, so they give us 1. Okay. So the blue and black. So what I did was I had this negative 5 in the middle originally, right? And I know positive 2 and negative 7 equals negative 5. So what I did is I replaced the negative 5 with positive 2 and negative 7. Because it equals the same thing, so I can split it up like that. Yeah. Okay. So then, what's my final step on this one? No, I don't divide, I just rewrite. Yeah. So I put, the outside numbers in their own set of parentheses, and then what goes in the second set? Yeah, the other set that I had in parentheses, the x plus 1. No. No. The reason we don't make it squared is because this is backwards distributive property. Yeah, no. It seems like it would go that way, but because there's a plus and minus in the middle, we can. Can I move on to number 5, or do you guys still need 4 on the board? Okay. So, first step is what? A and C, so negative 4 times 5. And then what's my B? Negative 8. What? I wanted to write B there, not negative 8. Oh no, I just meant what is B. Okay. Then I want to figure out what multiplies to, is it negative 20? And adds to negative 8. Okay? What are some things that multiply to 20 in general? Negative 10 and... Oh, well, what goes with negative 10 to make 20? 2. Okay? What is negative 10 plus 2? Negative 8. Do I need to keep going, or? Nope, I found the magic numbers. So now that I found them, what do I want to do? Rewrite and fill them in. So I'm going to have negative 4x squared, and then... Which makes more sense to put with the 4? 10 or 2? Okay. And then 5 at the end, right? Okay, then I'm going to split them into my 2 pairs. It'll work the same though. Okay, so what goes into both negative 4 and negative 10? Negative 2. And just the number or x? So I write negative 2x on the outside. What goes on the inside? What's negative 4 divided by negative 2? Positive 2, because the negatives cancel out. And then, does this get a variable or no? This one does, because x squared minus x squared divided by x, I subtract the exponents. Negative 10x divided by negative 2x, positive 5. On the second set of parentheses, what do I want to divide by? What goes into both 2 and 5? 1. Okay, so then I write 1 on the outside, and then what do I get on the inside? 2x divided by 1, 2x. 5 divided by 1, 5. And then what do I want to do next? So the outside numbers go in parentheses. I have negative 2x, and then 1. And then what goes inside the second set? 2x plus 5. Questions here?